캡순제 다게 진소 예베 손음게 롤라 벤지르선 yendu parajo sangye chedan zoge chonamla chanju bardo dani kyabsunje dage jinzo yebe sonamge 롤라 벤지르선 yendu parajo semjen tamje dewa dan dewi gyudan lembarag semjen tamje dungan da dungan ye gyudan rawara gyud semjen tamje dungan mebe dewa dan men rawa gyud semjen tamje nyerin chadan nidan ra dan nyong ne bara gyurji semjen tamje dewa dan dewe gyudan lembarag semjen tamje dungan dan dungan ye gyudan rawa gyud semjen tamje dungan mebe dewa dan min rawa gyud semjen tamje nyirin chadan nidan ra dan nyomla ne ba gyurji semjen tamje dewa dan dewe gyudan semjen damje dungan dan dungan ye gyudan rawara gyurje semjen dam dungan mebe dewa dan min rawara gyurje semjen dam nyirin chadan nidan ra dan nyomla ne ba gyurje sajbe aje juje mendo re ro le je yo de gembandi sange jendo me de Genanda Jelaja Idam Guru Rana Mendala Kanya Dayami.
Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha and benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and by the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, spread with incense, adorned with strewn flowers, Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon, I imagine as a Buddha land, and by offering it to you, may all living beings enjoy this pure land. Thus, meeting the teaching of the peerless teacher is due to the spiritual mentor's kindness. I dedicate this virtue for all living beings to be cared for by excellent spiritual friends. Idam Guru Ratnam Mandalakam Nirgatayam.
야, 다 그선 쳔메 장애들 데레 쳔말라 니수 장애레 가르나 진짜 봐서 군대 밖에 남들라 자자니지 참만이 세야다 따때 공때 두고 그래서
last Sunday we went through the divisions of prime cognizer. There's a two divisions of prime cognizer. The direct receiver or direct prime cognizer and the inferential prime cognizer. So this for this the source text is from the Dharmakirti, the commentaries, his commentary on Dinaga Convendums of prime cognizer. It says that because object of comprehension are two, the prime cognizer are two. So there's only two kind of prime cognizer. That is called the direct prime cognizer or the inferential prime cognizer.
다 장에 시디가라 가래라 그랬다가 텔 마와 체나 괜요바 텔 뉴어체나 괜요바 같이 다가 배 네바진지라더니 장에 그래 세까지 되기 저때 군진 장아지 붙은데잖아 망민 뉴나 민더 장에 마와 민더바 뉴와 민더바 인상 텔 니스 장에 그래 저송레스
So so the enumerations of the prime cognizers are only two, as two, just like because here we don't need more than two, and there's no if it is two less than two, then it's not include all the prime cognizer. So that's why we enumeration into two kinds of prime cognizer. So it's in Kungen Janja, but the talk in the text they talk about more than two is not needed, and less than two is not conclude all the things. So that's why only two of the prime cognizer is enumerated.
어디 디가라는 직통도 아세. 딩일 마와 미고시 뉴원의 민디비치르데. 온장 디 장에 로도스베 장에 기 분수스베 장에 봐 마인데 세마이나 띵이 강우 임베 마캬비치르데. 질 세마 띵이 강우도 적 강우도 적 가위치르잖아. 당부 질 세마라 양편베 무슨 집으로 더 바나스 zari kape chuchi tunde pa par jende namge tangla lo par topa tumaji chungwa te kape chirdu ribe wanchu ki jachani ji tsamani is wada te chik kara pake tundana la yorwa gyangpembe tsamayi na ngusun tsamayi be kyap shiba tsama kurang kelinga mara trumte wangi tato shire wada teki te tangani yang tesu kape loto teki di loto mangpuji kaya tundala ini sunres loto sewe tangi ini punsun sewe tangi sidigala ta ngonji nipu kaya mayin biyan tsama chi yungri sande topaji yore tende karsore ngonji nipu kanu mayin be tsama yaw mara ese punsun selgiri ese da wata dusichini wata tesun gore
So when you look for the page number 118, so the when prime cognizers are divided, there are two, direct and the inferential. These enumerations of prime cognizer as two is definite. For more than this would be unnecessary, and less would not include them all. However, the definite enumerations eliminate wrong conceptual, not any third possibility. For whatever its prime cognizer is not necessary one of those two. This is because it's difficult to posit the prime cognizer in general is either of those two. And also, if you look for the page number 119, the enumeration of prime cognizer as two is definite because of the lot of reasoning Dharmakirti said in the third chapter of his commentaries on the Dinaga Compendiums on prime cognition. because object of the comprehension are two, prime cognizers are two. So here Dharmakirti says that in order to refute the many wrong idea which had arisings with the regard of the enumerations, for nihilist positions positings one direct perceptions to the Tsarikapas positing 11s, refuting those all of forms many viewpoints of reasonings by the power of the fact, Dharmakirti established the definite enumeration of prime cognizer as those two. So just like there's a the wrong view, the two definition, the definite enumerations of two eliminate the point view of some of the wrong view, and also there's like it rejects the and not any third possibility of the kind of like there's a no valid cognition which is neither it's like third position means if it is a valid cognition, so definitely be prime or the what direct prime cognizer or the inferential cognitions.
저봐 연구라 세마이네 세마이 대기 보고는 이be 캬다 캬브는 세마 지도하려나 지지 말 차디요래 아니 저봐 세마는 세마 니가 취지잖아 분수 뭐 차디요래 어때 자자 장 지지 인고 세나 다 세마를 니수 장이 세데 지지 인고수 도스전에 지지 보다 인고만 쓰긴데 고다 좀 지견 돼서 되지 차디요래.
So just like when we it's the definite enumerations of the prime cognizer are two, right? Direct and the inferential prime cognizer. So the main point is like if you talk about what about the prime cognizer in general. So talking about the prime cognizer in general, so it's we call it like Zechigma is called like one substantial, or is that like in you are talking in a general way, you are not specifying what kind of consciousness. So it's like in a way of debate we call it one substantials, or you are talking in a general way. And sometimes we can point out like what is the example like direct and the inferential prime cognizer. If you talk in, so if we bring the subject like direct and inferential prime cognizer, so we ask what is these two are prime cognizer, right? So we ask what is this is the direct prime cognizer or the inferential prime cognizer, then we call it like third possibility, rejecting the third possibility.
다 지지 인고서 쳐나 띵이 거는 마인베 원신이 보 거는 마인베 세마 다 균이 자예요 말했어.
So after reviewing this kind of two one substantial or the third possibility, whatever to we call it two head, whatever nigo goyim means two-headed. So like that on that time we call it, if you reject this point of two, then there's always if it is a valid cognition, then necessarily be a direct or the inferential prime cognition.
재산다 다다 세기도 세마 땡기고 땅에 그래 지도가라 세마 찐데 바데 세마 찐데 로도데 셀기도 또 바데 제바 세마데 세마 임바 고 두비용도 가라 에 즉 세마 찐데 베다 준데 바데 세마만 본데기 로도 셀용 거래 또 바데 란진 셀용 거래.
So because of just like these two kind of definite enumerations of prime cognizer, so into two, direct and the inferential. So because of that, you reject the nihilist, the posting direct for posting only one prime cognizer, the direct prime cognizer. They believe that if it is a prime cognizer, it necessarily be a direct prime cognizer. So they reject the one point of view, and then another like Tzadikaba, they posit that 11 kinds of prime cognizers. They also reject those twos.
자잔 맞아 난디나라 미주도 미겐도 저데 당연히기 시디기 미주요하다 주요하다 대소강가 셀도 그러와스.
So just like so when we
근데 똑바도 2 요와도 주요 도바데 셀도 그러와지 이게 또 땅에 왜나 디나는 이게 또 땅에나
So just
반대
like
살미 이게 뭐듬도
so just like example like definite enumeration, just enumerations. Just like when we talk into this house, we talk about that there's only definite enumeration is like only 8 people. So it reject the 6 people and also the 10 people and so on. So it reject there's a no. It's also positive like there's a no 10 more than 8. That means there's if there is a only definite enumeration of 8 number, then it's reject there's a 10 people, and it also reject only at 6 people. Because we are
융어요다
8 people.
망어요다 강가셀 도바데 셀도 그러와레스 대인들로 도셀로 땅에 세다 도스레스
So just like when we reject some are less, reject the less number and also the reject the more number. You got it? What it mean?
하고송에서 로도셀 세야데 된디지레스
You didn't got it. So just like when we talk about the now it's 9, right? So when we give the example like in this house, we are only definite number enumeration or the number is 9, right? We have 9 people over here. So it's if we say definite enumeration number is 9, then it reject that there's a 10 people in this house, and it's also reject there's only 6 people in this house, right?
간지
Kind of like that.
굴리
So if
융어요
we-
도바데 셀고래 굴리 망어요 도바데 셀고라스
So just like that, if we the number of divisions of prime cognate definite enumeration number is 2, then it reject there's only 1, and also the more than 2 is also rejecting.
두스레스 다 가지 참말로 뉴스 땅에 로도세베 땅에 풍수세베 땅에 두스자거레스
So the definite enumerations of prime cognate is 2, right? So that's why it's reject the view of more than 2 and also the less than 2. So just like the wrong view of some of the schools, they posit only 1 prime cognate, some posit that 11 prime cognate and so on. If you go through the page number 120 and so on, you can find all the so like one of the nihilisms wrong Samkhya schools, they always says that there's only 1 in direct prime cognate and so on. The nihilist school is Samkhya school, and one is Sarikapa and so on. You can find out all the numbers and so on.
tumta ngama tumta tade 로디나 ям벤베 겁돌라 아니 ям벤베 세말롱 세미지비 캬반도 데스 아니 젠는 세마 젠는 바다 마젠달로 수베치는 기 수게마 옹옹이리 중세데 다 제바단 베 따데 규전신데데 코랑 켈링고 말스 강 무슨도 통화데 따가랑마도 누구 말했어.
So just like in actually in the Samkhya schools, if you study the tenets of Samkhya school before and the tenet, so in that they believe they talk about that prime cognate the prime cognate are only 1, because just like they never believe in the inferential reasoning and so on. Just like whatever they how to say,
레균데 켈링고
they never they reject the point of karmic relations. Then also just like cause and conditions, like they talk about the but some of
제마
the
리리저과당
they're
세면
not-
고 넘보 종엔다 마젠도 종엔도 수여레스 코랑 오니 중레스 아이 제말라다 빈 랍난디
it's kind of like
골빈
there's some kinds of not being whatever goal the forget
Matter?
kind of like we
Matter
call it
Hindi
matter,
sawal.
just like no it's like fruits whatever, just like some are gold in a what no
Adam no
it's talking about the
Tema-
beans, kinds of
tema
like
look
beans
like bean
beans, yeah.
Tema
Some are round, right? Totally round.
black bean
black beans and so
gold,
on.
you know. Who make that black bean?
So they talk
gold
about
is-
that no one's make it's by nature by itself. So there's no reason. Just like when it's
Samala thon lagda.
throne, the throne,
Thorn. Yeah.
the
Thorn.
top of the throne is so sharp, right? No one make the shape, so it's come by its own nature. So they talk about there's no one make that.
This is Samkhya?
Yeah, Samkhya
Samkhya.
school. So that's why they are
Oh,
talking about the nature.
oh,
They
they
reject the
couple-
point of inferential.
대가들 그런 규제 망보 거여레스. 인카랑서 대 양배 먹었다 라다 하고 그래스.
They have lots of reasoning over there why they believe in that. So that's why they talk about this. All are things by nature, not by someone created and so on. So they reject the point of view of like inferential cognizance and so on. So talking about the reasoning and so on. So they believe only in the if it is a prime cognizer, it necessarily be a direct prime cognizer. What do you say? Yeah. What do you say? You can know anything. Do they believe in you can know anything?
Because if they don't believe in inferential cognition, then how do they believe in knowledge? How do you come to knowledge without using inferential cognition? Is that your question? Yeah.
제바키에 말에는 안에 계란을 롭종에 와야 돼. 간데스 켈링 그래서.
또 그런 무슨 통근 때마다 다 켈링고 말. 마통근데 켈링고 말.
It's in general just like they believe only whatever you see.
So this is not much different than materialist scientists.
Yeah, kind of like.
지금 말다 선리배 다 인산 선리 밥할지 양배 뭐라고 차였다.
So if you didn't see, then you said there's no exist.
So does that mean if I leave this room and I see this now and it exists, but if I leave this room, does that mean that doesn't exist anymore for them?
I don't think they say like this.
간데세.
But 코갈라나 코데메어는 코단다 쪽세 통고라. 코룸니 칠러는 쪽세는 요 말에 라게래서. 디 말아 코 찍고 만
대단한 라고 말. 양때는
미망
양배 받던데 전리배 lumbu 또 말해서.
They are not kind of like that much of very limbo and kind of like they're not that much worse because they have knowledge, but they never say like that. If you leave the devil, they don't say like that.
선리 버러와. 그런 마통 그 잘네 많이 봐. 맨에 많이 봐 말와다. 잘네 많이 봐데 그런 켈링고 말와.
So kind of like scientific materialistic. So when they search something they didn't find, then they never believe it exists, right? Kind of like that. Mostly
많이
like
봐데 맨에
metaphysics.
많이 봐 말와. 잘네 많이 봐와.
So when we look for searching, then he didn't find that. It doesn't mean that it was not exist, right? He didn't find, right?
잘네 많이 봐도 그런 많이 인사 뭐 그런 많이 봐 유생기 민도 럽고 வர와.
So this is they kind of like they say it not exist because he cannot find.
베르나 레방 굴교 게다 때서 건가 레바 그런 차시지마도 이 제네 시바텐디기 현지고 와다 선리비 다 지니 랭이 켈링 거라마다 때마다 켈링 거라 야마와.
So giving like the brain, the function of the brain. So in early time they never believe in the consciousness or whatever. The movement of they're talking about the only from brain, right? So like they cannot find the consciousness. So they don't believe in consciousness and so on, like that. Samkhya. Yeah. Yeah.
그래도 아스타 띵산 천리보다 팔절 상견 라보라지르다.
So he says the scientists and mostly like Samkhya are mostly similar.
Except for quantum physics, physicists now are a little bit different.
Ah.
Well, in quantum physics, they speak of things existing in terms of possibilities. So it's not what they can observe. The classic model for that is
강간 라보라메다 야. 그 팔절 라비인스.
about
He said it means most of the point are similar, not the all the things are similar.
Has Gisela heard of the Schrodinger's cat?
Huh?
Schrodinger's cat, you can see it.
Huh?
Schrodinger's cat? They say they put a cat in a box.
Shimish this the raise alphabet then the zero shani.
Then there's a little Geiger counter that measures the decay of an atom. And when it decays, it causes a poison to break open and then kill the cat.
Yeah.
So they say while the box, you can't see inside the box, the possibility is the cat is dead and alive at the same time.
Death and life how?
That's what they say.
They say 50-50.
Yeah. Until it's observed, you don't know.
So that's why it's talking about the mind only school. Kodo this year 감지나라와 독지 시작 독지 독디 gamla 디당 시미 시작이래 하면 지 시작이라 디바달라 고다우죠. 계시 디나나 디즈디 시작이라 디즈디 고랑기 제일 뢰죠. 제일 뢰니 제일 뢰서나 고디 체르고 고체나 지지 시민량 지지 시로 근데 다지시고라 딱 가지 지는 맞으나 시열에 요 말에 라이죠라 이 계정 합중합 주라 야만이 고체는 시에서 야만 시에서 어디를다 the quantum physics 나는 파트 디 타좀라 미 통나마도 하고 말에 라이죠라 어디를 샘잠바기 왕보다 딩이
시세야
최대
세들랑 시세야 세들랑 남시 타락이 개발하지 마시나 왕부 공과 받zam기 시랑 원심 제외나 딘산 때 아주 냠는 바게 가서 투담 주에 세인데도 거저 손보레 시결에서데 저 미시바 콘솔 차그리스 아주 이 치지 말마다 때 지와랑랑 원심지 두고야 말이지.
So just like even if you don't know where you point out the or how you can say death, so that if we stop walking with the sense sphere, it doesn't mean in Buddhism it doesn't mean that he is dead. So that scientific might be like death, might be just like a meditative. Some of the practitioners they stay in the meditative states after the whatever they practice. So in the point of view of us, we never say he's die or dead. He's dying, right? His consciousness is not yet stopped, still walking. So just like for them might be said died, but we cannot say this die.
It seems like the scientists don't take into account that the cat also has a consciousness. It seems very human-centric.
Consciousness who
They're not taking into account the observing consciousness of the cat. They think it's just the humans looking at the box. But the cat has a consciousness too.
now we're talking in general death. If we say death, then we talk about just like might be the cat stop walking. Sense it doesn't mean that he's dead. He stopped his sense walking, sense consciousness. You got it?
다 세바 타락이 개발시 자신의 루지라 치와데 치와 의살 타모데 루심 땐데면 럼 마체버도 치와라 자고 말해시 직 유지라방가 가 잠지 띵굴죠 마게바 잠지라 치와라 자고 말해시.
So just like when you don't know the differentiate between the subtle level of consciousness and grosser level of consciousness, so that's like it's very difficult to say where's the point of death. So just like when the grosser level of consciousness stop walking, it doesn't mean that he is dead and so on, right? So just like we have to death means when you stop walking, still walking with this subtle level of consciousness, then we define as a death.
얌참보르다 당원에 당어조 된산데 갑라 로스니 배마 결선리 니마 결선리 아니 고만 소복근수리 연장이실래 대중어조 다 징le 배래 제버래 담몬 로초 운가 차와라 덴디 차와 첨보에 갈라 배 투덤 답하기 투덤 라니마든지 예 우ten 중은 거래 되게 투덤 주 가돌라 디마코나야 말다 투덤 쫄라단테니 배 기지마지래 렘상 디마카한 것도 와 양상 버래
So
오늘
kind of like in a south, in a winter time, it's very hot, and some of the practitioners like from Losling, Kinsu Pema Genze, Jinima Genze, Nima Genze, and Komang, ex Abbot, and other Lama, some of the other monks. So just like they stay in the meditative stage for after for 8 to 10 days or whatever, sometimes 1 week, sometimes 8 to 8 days and so on. So during the 8 days that they have never any kind of like bad smell and so on. If the mind just travel, it means when it come to death, then body directly smell badly. So till the 8 days, they never have any kind of bad smell and so on. Yeah, took them.
His Holiness said, I think I heard him say that the longest he's ever heard of someone remaining in Tuktam was 21 days.
Yeah.
겹질링 부채 이균정 부주래.
How long?
발제 눈다 숨 자주래. 갈den 티줄 옌 사와 로장이마 발제 눈다 숨 주래. 아니 디분 티바 옌 대중아 좀 잘려 말 주르즈 꼬마도 디분 티바 옌 템바텐진라 눈다 숨 주래. 시도 하나 좀 제요 말이 좀 같은 좀 같은 제래. 당가 좀 되디 바기 된사랑 로종 찍어 와래.
So kind of like Ling Rinpoche, the previous one, not the. Don't think about the tutor of Dalai Lama, Ling Rinpoche, mostly for 3
다른 살아
weeks.
진의 배로.
He's in Dharamsala. So if you go to Dharamsala, his body is still there in palace. And just like and some Kinsu Losling Kinsu
로산 티줄이다.
yeah, Gande Tisur Lobsangima.
로장이마라.
Yeah, Gande Tisur Lobsangima and
디분 티바
Devuntiba
템바텐지.
they stay for mostly for long days, 20 to 20 days, 1 day and so on. So just like on that time Geshe-la was not there. He didn't saw.
고교르마다 당가선 제요 말에. 남마도 좀 가서 제로.
He just heard from somewhere. But some of the one before we talk about the Kinsu Pema Genze, Nima Genze, and Komang Kinsu and so on, they, and this those are Geshe-la see when they are in the meditative state and so on.
So, this year, I think it was January or February, there was an old man from the nursing home, the Tibetan old people's home near the Anigopa, and he stayed 4 days.
They also just soon as one Mola from Mangalore-ganj.
Really?
Yeah, you don't know.
But this man wasn't a monk, so that was surprising to me. That
Not necessarily monk. Practitioner not need monks. So that's why it's a all women. Just soon, I think last 2-3 weeks ago, I think.
저는 망보여래. 다들 오늘 얌참보래. 당보 용어 팀림제대는 배 구샤도 또서 냠기도 안당 아니 지니 두담나 줘요 내가 구샤도 야 쇠제는 마동하다 답을했다 배 말한주 숨보 가리에 따나신진 유구도와
So kind of like they are called like spiritual progress. I don't know how to say it. It's kind of like meditative states and so on. So just like if you go look through the Tantric text, so in generally how the four elements dissolve by the way of dissolving elements, right? They talk about the death and so on. So while dissolving, you find like his body in the kind of like weak and so on. When his body, his five elements are dissolved, then on the time of when he was at the clear light meditation process or whatever, on that time his body becomes so shining again, back to this process like.
자, 무슨 융화랑 트라자고래. 대간이는 남신랑 트라자고라. 융화 아빠가 뒤살에 융화 참부터 돈대디요래. 남신 아빠 뒤살에 남신 참부터 돈대디요래.
So kind of like elements and also just like the consciousness we are talking about, the grosser and subtle level of. So the grosser level of elements dissolve, but the subtle level of element is still there. Kind of like consciousness also. Grosser one dissolve, but the subtle level of consciousness is still there.
So it's like also part of achieving rainbow body. This is also on the path of achieving rainbow body.
림보버리 니주 가가래 있으러와.
Part of achieving the body. What do you mean?
What you're talking about.
When you are dead, to them
It's like tutam is necessary to achieve rainbow body. Yeah.
to them gore. To them
가는 림보버리 jelisi 주비야 니주 가가래. 대냠len 다 대저고 냠len 데니 조조 대저다 뒤코르 냠len 받아서 망체 동수 자기 전부 DJ인데 jel리투 거스도
So kind of like
냠len 만라지다 냠도 연구하래스 안 같이 받아 말해스
different practitioners have different own way, just like Kala Chakra practitioner and
헤루카
Heruka. So
Grace
practice of Heruka.
가라
Chakra
Sound Divan Guhe Samachi
Chakra Sambar.
자컬스모
So Heruka or Chakra Sambar, they do practice of this kind of thing. They have their own different kinds of ability, just like they have ability to form a rainbow body. So the different practitioners have different tantric level, have their own different way of achieving the body and so on.
So is tutam a prerequisite necessary to achieve these other levels?
Chalito wala ane tutam injimi sugar vela.
다데 jellitu 강가 투담 주고 예매 어쨌든 jellitu 쟁용이요 말았던다
I don't know.
텐덴지 시스티아요 말했어
Kisela said
대가랑이 nga 시달 타요 말아 아스고 말해
Kisela said don't know, and he also didn't study tantra.
간제 jellitu 발라 뒤코르기 나저바다 아니 대저 나저바 jellitu 겐 레즈데 텐디지 나저발은 진지기도 와 마음체지
So whatever, just like in general, just like who have a rainbow body, they mostly describe as their practitioner of Kala Chakra or the Chakra Samvara.
간제 가르사 파기 사운드바 마기 대자해로 가서데 마기 갈라ጾጾ 유리조 지가 말아 유리조데 오셀
Waseru to
파파디고
두고나라 똥수기 꾸로.
동수차게 전부라기도 민전달라 동수차게 전부라기도
So just like in tantra, we divide into two categories, like the lineage from the male and the female. Just like practitioner, it depend on how you do practice. So the one is called the kind of like focusing mostly on the kind of like if you go through Guya Samaj, they do the mostly practice of formations of the magical body. It's different from the rainbow body. It's kind of like magical body and so on. Some of them mostly focusing on the clear light consciousness and so on. These are the two main practice in tantric. So the male practitioner, kind of like Goya Samaj, they drew the practice of the mostly specify on the formations of the magical body, and others like the females, like they do on the practice on clear light.
Is magical body Gimiku?
Ah,
Gimiku?
Gimeku. Magical body, I don't know. Guma is magical, actually like magical body.
Magic ta lage gimarda.
Guma giro, in the magic, Gili Koran la Karelaguna.
Oda kanche dosre da tendigala yundungazo 가르쳐래. 냠len제는 또바케미 계세데 수수 냠len을 라래 마도 니시라다 가르쳐다. 그저양 된데 또바서도 밀칼em 투담 데 미쳐야서 그러지 삼도데 거기야 말이지.
So let's
베타가 수지 냠len제바이나 포모케바리야 말이 Hasr kepar guni amares.
the body is called illusory body. Sounds like medical chapter. Illusory body. Yeah, illusory lana magical. Okay, illusory body. So just like if you true practitioner, you will ability to have in meditative process after death or after when you struck by the grosser level of consciousness. It's not differentiate between whether you are monk or not, or you are woman or man. It's if you do practitioner, you will have all the things. Well, you can have this kind of ability to after the kind of like when you cross a level of consciousness stops.
New Zealand la geshiji jing de pedwa location ngulen sare. Didi kyamgaron ju page pe kaptoje. Ane konzo geshi tambo tudam judu tudam ju. 아니 온다지 차대도 수제는 저걸로 하셨어요. 겸그럼 뭐제 교수 캠라인 맞으서 시우승도. 간디 시답에 오늘 셰브라 바차장 가사래. 차오마들 내요 말에. 또 은인 중화라 방 가사래. 차오마들 말에. 뒤뒤 창구교 게다 간디 제인데 겸그럼 뭐제 두도나 그도 돼. 얌선부를 송도.
So like in New Zealand, some years ago, there's one geshe who also in the kind of like what they say? Forget the process of meditations after the so just like in normally he one night he moved his hand. So the now Dalai Lama always asks how it's happened. In general, this point is like so just like his grosser level of all consciousness is dissolved and so on. Only there's a certain level of consciousness. So that point is how it happened. He's moved his hand and so on. So he asked about why you didn't put the cameras and so on for them.
다 신디랑 아주 수수 샘들 잘야 우지 녀몬절에 껴다 아니 즉 잠니지다 텐델로 콤바 첨부 예데글라 치갈갈 때갈라 강제 그위 샘들 냠버자 용도갈라 다 딘디기 톱기 샘 참모데 뱃들 윤중보 제네 네트워크라이시
So kind
간지
of
치갈라가 단데 빼 맞아 냠는 지야데 치갈라가지 디 텐투베이나 10분 그렇게 전부 온 거로 랍첨부 팬도 거라 디 지금 참은 원도 그런 어디 갈라 답에 그왜 로또 전부 지는 디 상계게 탑라면 열어와 됐은 거로
this is kind of like whatever in Delhi you do the practice or whatever, just like to remove your bad karma or whatever, just like unwholesome deeds and so on, and also cultivate the good things. The point is like during on the time of when you come to the death. So just like if you have that kind of ability to just like bring out the thought, just like what you do practice in the daily life. You can, if you remember that kind of practice during the dead time, the subtle level of consciousness, then it's possible to have this kind of like meditative states and so on. And also it's also ability to talk about just like to be able to have attain and liberations during the process of like when you are during that process.
So are you saying that in the sadhana, when you're visualizing the seed syllable becoming the lotus and the moon and the sun and the body and the hand implement, this is the practice he's talking about? The daily practice?
Daily practice in Delhi right now you are doing like practice of compassion and so on. We are not talking about sadhana now. In general, if you do practice of compassion or whatever.
General practice now.
Yeah.
간지 단다 곰바 추모 레비는 치갈라가 곰바데 레기 얼와.
The point like if you have
곰바티 톱데 텐트 고얼와.
right now, if you have power, just like if you have more experience, then you are ability to remembering when you are dead, right? It's the point of like if you have ability to remember during the death, then it's you have ability to practice on the subtle level of consciousness. The point is like that. It's not talking about the sadhana and so on now. In general.
저는 다른 사람 중에 모두 바저 산나다 그게 난게 이게 말이 바저. 야멘데.
Talking about the
샘장보지. 땐땐 뭐 샘장보다 잠니지라 땐데 꼼바여바다 깨지게다 말다.
So like the old lady who passed, so that's like she might don't do the true practice of sadhana and so on, but she might have compassion mind and so on. So whether you do practice of sadhana or whatever, if you die normally, you start with the dissolving your 5 elements. You cannot directly stop. You can mouth you slowly by slowly your eyes will going inside, your mouth will dry. These are the source of dissolving element. You feel thirsty, you feel fire and so on. These are the point of like dissolving point. So dissolving elements and so on. During that time, when you have remembering of in generally what we do in hospital when someone know like that, then they bring the picture of lamas or they play that teachings and so on to keep memorizing thinking about that one. So the point is like when you die, this sense the 5 elements are dissolving during that time. You also dissolve the grosser level of consciousness slowly. So when you think about that one, so dissolving the grosser level whatever, then when you come to the consciousness, right, so when during that process if you think about the compassion or whatever, then you have ability to think about the subtle level, point of subtle level, you can also think. So just like in normal death, you will happen like this. If you death suddenly by car accident, then no possible to have. Otherwise, if you are dying normally, then you have all the 5 dissolving 5 elements and so on comes by slowly.
단다 람림 되잖아. 람림 충분하라 미다바라 받았어. 람림 다 기분 드린 갑돌아 미다바 타모도 숨어야 돼. 직 미다바 코랑베 시기리 그 이야 코랑에 뚜띠어서 저디가라 파타나 섬로 냄보지 마다나 이나랑게 소리지도 와시. 냄보지다는 코에 내주듯이 셰는가라 소소라 로도 깨지러와. 다 디레테 코는 뭐에 내주듯 디레레 고 다티 인디가라 단당하선 딘데지 에네 직 중화 창년 백업도 들라 직 중후 야보지 백업들라 셈데 잘하지니 야와시 맞지나 다코 란싱긴 중화 베 따밥 로이디가라 다 매차야지 코 뭐에 니수도 차디어스 셰인디가라 데니 직 셈 줄지니 랑게 찰라 간요바데 거위쳐라 깨게 탈름 띠돈달라 수능마도 지나라연 돈달라 균 수요 말와스.
So just like when you go to the practice lamrim or the path to enlightenment, whatever. The middle text and the greater during the path of during the point of like leisure people for the disciple who have we call it small, I don't know how to say it, the less who thinks about the self, the lower scopes. So yeah, lower scopes people. So that for them might be to talk about the grosser level of impermanence and so on. When you come to the Kibudingra, the middle scopes, they talk about the subtle level of impermanence and so on. So when you look directly, it seems like the text is making you afraid. But in generally, if you think properly, right, it make you sense why you need to think. Just like we're talking about the Bible, in the middle, they talk about when you talk about the subtle level of impermanence, they talk about the by born you are kind of like in the source of death, impermanence, like subtle level of impermanence. Talking about that one. So just like from that one, if you know that one, then you can think about the changing and so on. Then you can do the practice and so on. If you think like that, then if you will have ability to do practice, thinking about the impermanence, then doing the practice and so on. If you don't think like that, it makes like sense. The text will make you afraid.
So while having, as the death process is beginning, the best frame of mind is to then start practicing and trying to create compassion in your mind. Having compassion during death.
During death? Right now, I'm talking in general.
No, my question is the best thing for us to do if
Death.
I go home tonight and I start, oh gosh, I'm dying. Start thinking compassion as much as I can while I go through the dying process. Is that the practice you're saying we should do?
Right now, I'm talking just like in general, talking about the impermanent.
Totally different question.
You are talking in general questions. You are talking in when you are going to death, right? So in going to death, you can okay. In generally, what you do practice of permanence, impermanence, whatever, compassion, or whatever. So the process is when you are coming to death, you're dissolving. You have to remember what you are doing, what you do practiced. The point is like whether you do compassion or whether you do impermanence or whether you do emptiness, what practice. You have to remember during that point of like that. You got it? The point is, I will tell you now. The point is whether you do practice right now, right, whatever. The point is like when during the time of death, you have to remember what you do practiced. If you don't remember, the fear you will have a grasping and so on. That will make you to attach toward the other things and so on. Then you will never have chance to get practiced. If you don't remembering and so on, right, what you do practice and so on, then your mind is not focusing on meditation. Your mind is focusing on attachments toward the next life, next body, and so on.
The word practice is so vague. I mean, it's a huge blanket.
Practice can be do on any point like compassion or emptiness or impermanence. Yeah.
Focus on it. Okay.
Benan dido mitaba rapazurejina amjon tugyora min tungyorwa wangbil chado kampaji noyatzo henji tebete kampaji gorwa 유제베트기 컴파가 매차도 거라. 그래서 가서 왕비일래도. 그래서 기부 중에 갑달라 빼고 로섭 춘춘라 랭해지 마도 숨미도. 이 줄로만 세직 받아지다. 여름 숨도. 기부 중에 나라 다 힘들어도 직부를 마도 때마다 힘들 맞이나 맞아 가래 냠는 제바네 기부 중에 냠는데 바제 친한 투모 냠는 숨도.
So like the point is like during the lower scope practitioner persons, so the scope is like they do the practice of grosser level of impermanence. So grosser level of impermanence that we can hear, we can see dissolving the house, break the house and so on. The people dead and so on. We can hear, we can see. These are just like we never see the momentary. We never think about the momentary how he comes. By bonds to death, right? So those are we are not by the sense object of sense consciousness, right? We never say just like you are bonds to death, right? You never think that the born is the cause for death. You only think that the cause, whatever the end, is the only the cause for death, right? So like we only think about the grosser level. We never see about the subtle level of cause and so on, right? So that's why those practitioners are just like normally we do in kind of like grosser practice of just like do a comment between the Buddhism or non-Buddhism, whatever. The only for the for the greater scopes of the lower scopes of the people, the practice only if you have going refuge in the three jewels, and also the that mind conjoins the practice, then it'll become the practice of Buddhism. Otherwise, like common between the Buddhism and other schools. So
다 대자 마인바 다 뒤나왜 기지기지기 매야 차야 돼. 고 신도야 돼. 겐데 가르텐도 유 가르겠지고 유 코랑기 그지긴 지기바도 유 코랑게 깨 온도 갈라 다티 삼단데 다 일로 또베 베 유전 삼단마도 미기 동야미도 왕비소래 왕비율렌데 두도 또 로도 또서 로게 체지라 삼로 당근지마도 때 용합니다.
So like now the middle scopes people thinks about the cause, real cause. Just like when it come to the death, right? They think about the cause, man cause. Then the subtle level of cause by born is come to be death. The born itself is the taking birth itself is the cause of death. Only they can think. These are the using by conceptual thought, the cause and so on. So the general in the lower scope they never thinks about this kind of subtle level of cause and so on. So for them, in the middle scope they have to use the lots of conceptual thoughts to think about the cause, each and every the subtle level of cause, the cause itself, whatever your death, kind of like accident. So you have to think the cause, each and every accident, right? The point itself, momentary is itself also the cause of the death, right? In the beginning we never think when you are driving you hit by something. You are driving is itself the cause. You always focus on the other cause, the gross. We see the only grosser level. We never think about the subtle level, your cause and so on. So then middle scopes, they're mostly focusing on the each and every moment, subtle level of conditions. So then you come to the subtle level of impermanence. So we are thinking about the by born itself is the cause of death.
자사도 세서 삼단인데 갈라 다그 육호랑랑기 깨지깨지기 빼 민데바 그 깨지 빼 규르구여와다 학과에는 란신데 세미나라 템퍼처 고야지 다 삽삽 초가지 땐된 랩기도 하세.
So just like if you by thought if you think the cause the itself by being having itself or the by born itself, you think that this is the cause for death and so on, then you have by mentally you have to think about each and every point, right? So you have to be alert for each and every cause, like for your death and so on. It might be the cause for death and so on.
The mother yarmuches sunre kamlungba 캠푸지 알아서 캠푸드다 미다바시부지 순간지 인서라 지 나온디가라 아니 미다바 순간이 아니 캠푸지님은 제가 미지래레스 디디 캠푸데 순제난가 펜이 주어 말레스 집지마다 주어 말레스 아니 접시데 미 가자바르지서라 아니 캠푸자가 팽인데 캠푸 카페에서 나 캠푸자가 이제 아니 접시데게 캠푸 보모스 진앙국간도 손세 라브레스 삼로 nembu matan tenaji chagirse gemgor mu junju ta lamrim nang de le pe yang yang to sungudo.
So the Lama gave an story. It's a real story, not a fact. So it's a non-fiction. Just kidding. So it's like in Kham there's one abbot of a monastery. So one day he give talk. He himself doing the practice of impermanence and so on, and also when teaching people mostly about the impermanence and whatever. So one day one people come to visit the abbot, and he asks about his assistant. So I asked about where is the Kimbo, and that 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 monk told that he went in the village to afraid the old people.
Afraid of old people?
You got it? Because he gives speech of making other people afraid, like impermanent and so on.
He was afraid of old people, or he scared old people?
To scare people. Sorry, to make scare. To make afraid. To scare people.
다 뭐에 니즈 되지 마다나 단 잡아라 자고 와.
So like
시그리즈디.
so like if you don't think properly, then if you say you will die, then people will get scared, right? People will get afraid, right?
다 규제는데도 뭐에 니즈디 지 삼로다데 랑 깨지기 유태가란 게 깨지기 민도버지 깨용도 갈라 다 이나레비아 민도아 코란징기 니마지 가야네레 띵가베자데 니 야 삼로 땅와이나 nembuji 땅투이나 게비초라 로톱 첨부지 땅투이기 디 조이나 다른 뽑아다지니 치아디 용사 용구아레세
So just like if you think
주바랍 치와라 가세야 돼. 따때 두고 와레세.
if you think about the subtle level, whatever, just like if you just like in general, if you think about the people like talking impermanence, then might be if you don't think properly, it seems like you are making what? Afraid? What do you say? I forget. Scare. Sorry. To make it seem like scare. But if you think properly, by the subtle level, by itself, having itself is the cause of impermanence, death, and so on, then you might have just like when you are kind of like point of death, you will never feel like I did some wrong or whatever. Just like by practicing and so on, you will feel happy to die. Yeah, you will feel happy to die because of being your practice from the mind of subtle level of impermanence and so on. So this is like we call it like the greater people, the great practitioners. They never feel unhappy to die, but they feel happy to die.
미다바 짱짱 삼단다 가버르데 미다바데 뭐에 니수지 통 대간라 잠니지 전주기 셈기 파인 대통 셈기랑 신데 니베 뉴몬베 레바마주바지 통들라 보바 데니 초망부지 삼단나 데니 삼라 보바케지 레기도 와세.
So just like if you think only focusing on impermanence might be difficult, but just like on that time he also thinks about the compassion and so on, the advantage of doing practice of compassion and so on. Then you might have just like kind of like practice of compassion, whatever. Then you might have ability to have special ability to proud. No, really seems like proud. Confidence of someone.
So is this a bad time to wish Jay a happy birthday?
What?
Bad time, happy birthday.
Why? Doesn't matter. Happy still there. You have confidence, then happy still there. No problem.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Piece of birthday cake.
Yeah, piece of okay. Whole cake kind of problem also. Yeah, bursting jada.
We'll go have cake.
Yeah, piece of cake, okay? No whole cake.
Okay, have a break.
Then maybe heavy.
Fake happy.
I
Fake happy.
yeah.